Hello, hello, my friends. Another dedicated candle review for you today. We're going to be talking about Caramel Sundays Cranberry Pistachio. Now, this is a fragrance that made my top 25 of 2025 candle list. And while it is not currently available for purchase with Caramel Sundays, I believe that they would possibly bring this one back. I feel like this is one of their best selling fragrances. They typically release this fragrance in their fall lineup. In fact, when I was pulling out my notes to figure out when I actually purchased this fragrance, the first time that I purchased this candle, I believe, was in November of 2024 in my very first Caramel Sundays order. And then I actually, the first time around, I had it in a 2-wick format, but I loved it enough in the 2-wick format that when it became available in the 4-wick format last June, you guys, June of 2025, I went ahead and purchased it. So this fragrance has actually been sitting in my candle closet since I would say late, mid-July probably, because truthfully, you guys, even though this is marketed as a fall fragrance, this is one of my favorite fragrances to burn in the month of January. For whatever reason, I just equate this fragrance with that month. It's possibly because that was like I said, the first time that I had this candle in the 2-wick. I had purchased it in late November. And at that point, like, this is not really a holiday fragrance to me. I decided, yeah, let's go ahead and get it burning in January. For me, there was something about it that just smelled like a January fragrance. And yeah, but you guys know, not everybody's a seasonal burner. You guys can burn candles whenever you want. So I thought, while I have this in my stash, let's go ahead and share my thoughts on it, because we all know how the years, the months seem to pass us by. This will likely be available. I would imagine they're still going to, I think Caramel Sundays did announce that they kind of announced like the seasons by which they're going to make things available. And I do believe that their fall candles will be available in their June restock again in 2026. So that's truthfully not that far away, like 6 months away. So, anyways, that's a long enough intro. Let's go ahead and talk about the beauty of Cranberry Pistachio. Fragrance notes listed on this candle are top notes of sweet cranberry, mid notes of vanilla cream, almond, and pistachio, and a base note of vanilla bean and sugar. All right. So, this, um, if you guys are, those of you who are familiar with my channel, there are certain notes that I have said Caramel Sundays wins hands down. I would say pistachio is their number one, that they do unlike anybody else. They do it so beautifully well. They are my go-to brand when I want a pistachio fragrance. But following closely behind that would be the way that they do cranberry, and then behind that would probably be blueberry. There is just They do them so well. So of course, two of those top notes mixed into one candle, cranberry and pistachio, sign me up. To my nose, you guys, this is the beautiful pistachio note that Caramel Sundays does well. I definitely detect that. But the cranberry note in here, the way that Caramel Sundays does cranberry, it's not overly sweet and candied and artificial, but it's not too tart and sour where you're kind of like, ooh, I don't know about that. It's just done beautifully well. It is a sweet cranberry, but again, it's not artificial. It doesn't come across as cloying or like, I don't know. I feel like in the past, you guys, the funny thing is I have actually never considered myself a fan of cranberry fragrances. I do not like the way that Bath and Body Works does cranberry. I never have. Any of their cranberry scented candles have always been like, ugh, to me. Like, and that's not, I don't mean that offensively if you love them. I'm just saying my own personal fragrance preferences, my nose does not like the way that Bath and Body Works does cranberry. And I haven't even really liked the way that Yankee has done it. So I only started to open myself up to cranberry. I think it was Homeworks' Harvest Leaves. I started to recognize that cranberry mixed with other notes I might be open to. And then, of course, Kringle Candle has some cranberry scents. I'm thinking of their Cranberry, but that one is a little bit more of like a dry cranberry note. This to me is definitely more, like I said, that sweet cranberry mixed with the nutty pistachio. And then I also detect like a creaminess to this. There is kind of like an almond creaminess to it. I actually, when I first got this candle in that 2-wick format, I really loved burning this fragrance alongside Bath and Body Works pistachio and toasted vanilla. That fragrance combo was beautiful because there's kind of like an almond note going on in that candle. And now I'm really looking forward to burning this with oat milk and pistachio. Now that will be available in the caramel sundaes. It's technically their January restock. It did get pushed back into February. So oat milk and pistachio will be available February 8th at 7 p.m. Eastern time. That's when they are doing their January restock. They just had unforeseen circumstances with their supplies not getting shipped to them in time. And so it kind of threw off their pouring schedule. But yeah, you guys, this one, if you have a backstock of, like I said, pistachio and toasted vanilla from Bath and Body Works, the other fragrance that this has been going really nicely with is Homeworks' Vanilla Almond Creme. They're all kind of in that same profile, although I will say I personally am actually planning to put this one aside until I get my hands on more of the oat milk and pistachio from Caramel Sundaes, because I do think that the fragrances are going to complement each other very, very well. I think that this one also goes really nicely currently with the pistachio, what was it? The pistachio buttercream waffles. The one I just got it in. It's been beautiful with that. But this is a very beautiful fragrance. Like I said, I don't think it necessarily screams fall. This is a really nice fragrance to burn this time of year. And yeah, I just absolutely love it. It is probably my number 2 pistachio fragrance from Caramel Sundaes. Oat milk and pistachio is my number 1, but this is a close second, you guys. I do really, really like this fragrance, and I would highly recommend it. Now, like I said, this is the 4-wick vessel. These are pricey little numbers, you guys. I know that a lot of people, that's kind of the hang up sometimes with Caramel Sundaes, plus the business model, which is kind of like Hunger Games, right? They do a monthly drop, and you got to know what you want. You got to get in there, and it's an adrenaline rush. You get in there and get out, right? So this 4-wick vessel does retail for $64.99. That does include the cost of shipping. Typically, I have seen them offer this fragrance in their 2-wick format as well. Like I said, that's the first time I purchased it, and it was $31.99. Strength and throw on this one, you guys. This is probably in the 4-wick. I would give it about a 7.5, 8 for me. I tend to get pretty good performance out of these 4-wick vessels, particularly in my open concept. I do think that there are some fragrance profiles that still do very, very well in the 2-wick format. But I'm with Caramel Sundaes, I'm not necessarily certain that how would I put it? Not with every fragrance do the extra wicks always mean that it's going to be like extra strong, I guess. I think it comes down more so to the fragrance profile in general. So this fragrance profile, you guys, this is not going to be as intense or as strong as, say, their truffle butter cookie. That's a very dense, like strongly scented candle. The Holiday was a very strong candle for me. Trying to think of another. Milk and Fruit Loops, I can just tell. I have that in a 2-wick. I can just tell on cold sniff that one's going to be quite strong for me. I feel like this is like the next notch down. This is not as soft, I would say, as like Bakery on Main, but this definitely is kind of in between. So I think that if you've become familiar with Caramel Sundaes candles, that would probably give you an expectation of what to expect from this candle. Like I said, it's performing well for me. I have repurchased it. This itself is a repurchase, and this is a fragrance that when it becomes available again in a couple of months, I will definitely purchase another one. The other thing that I did want to mention, I did not bring it over here, you guys, but if you follow me over on Instagram, a couple of days ago, I did mention in my stories that one of my subscribers here on YouTube, when I was sharing my Caramel Sundaes stash, mentioned that if you are looking for lids to store these 4-wicks, if you go onto Amazon and purchase the Pyrex 7201 replacement lids, that they do fit on top of these vessels. So I did purchase them to try out, and that subscriber, thank you, whoever you were. Please raise your hand in the comments if that was you. Thank you very much for that tip because they do work, you guys. And I bought a 4-pack of those Pyrex lids. It was like $12.99 on Amazon. So great way to keep off the dust and help maybe stack your 4-wick caramel sundaes candles because they don't come with lids. I personally, I don't like to store my candles in boxes. I know that caramel sundaes gives you good boxes to store them in, but for me personally, I don't like to store my candles in boxes. So I found that that's another way to help with some storage solutions. So I wanted to throw that into this review just in case you have been looking for that. But let me know in the comment section down below, you guys, what your experience has been with Cranberry Pistachio. Is this a favorite for you? I would be curious to know. But overall, you guys, this one does get 2 thumbs up from me. It is probably one of my favorite fragrances from Caramel Sundaes. It's really hard for me to say like what are my top 10 because they do so many fragrances just so beautifully well. But this one would definitely be up there. For me, you guys know, as a reviewer, I don't repurchase everything. In fact, I burn a lot, but only like my top tier fragrances I do repurchase. So the fact that I've repurchased this one and I say that I would continue to repurchase it tells you that if you have similar fragrance preferences as I do, that you would probably enjoy it. So once again, you guys, if you found this review helpful, please make sure you hit the thumbs up button. Consider subscribing to my channel if you are new. I do want to say thank you so very, very much for spending your time here with me today. And until my next one, I hope you all go out and have a very blessed day. Bye.